Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. It's Championship Sunday at the Esports World Cup. 4 teams remain. OpTic and FaZe again going to the favourites here for this Championship Sunday to win the entire thing. If FaZe fail to convert another Sunday appearance, serious questions will be raised. OpTic, I guess, are the favourites in some sense because they're trying to go back-to-back after their World Championship win. Who's going to take it down? So many storylines as well on the day. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. TJ responding to his stellar acting in the content they've been putting out over the last couple of days here at the Esports World Cup. But let's dive into a fair few interesting things. Firstly, on Rostermania. Okay, this isn't actually happening. Insight is not going to go to Vegas. Shotzzy is not going to go to the Ravens, probably. But anyway, and obviously aBeZy is not on this team. You know how it goes. Scrappy isn't going to FaZe. Well, Scrappy actually might go to FaZe. aBeZy isn't going to FaZe. Scrappy to FaZe maybe is not completely impossible. Of course, we talked about yesterday the fact that Toronto out of the tournament already. And I'm sure Scrappy will be considering his future because he's 2 years now into his career. He's got close to winning rings on both occasions, but it hasn't happened yet. Is that current team good enough? Probably not on the evidence we've seen. Just too many collapses from that team, I would say, over this year. Last year as well counts in the same way. So Scrappy either will think about what that team might need to do or even what other teams might be interested in him. Of course, you know, Scrappy and Ghosty have a bit of a back and forth here as well, just because, you know, Ghosty takes him down again as he did at the World Championship in the early part of the tournament. And, you know, Scrap and Ghosty. Nice to see these two guys having a friendly conversation here to some degree. Clay as well did make it quite clear. I think we've known this, but I thought I'd mention it anyway, right? That he does plan to come back and play. Black Ops 6 is obviously a pretty exciting prospect for many players. And Clay's like, look, I like it on the desk. That, I suppose, is where Clay can have a full-time gig if he wants it, I imagine. But his plan is, if he can, to come back and play if there's an opportunity there. So time, I suppose, will tell on that one. Couple of more bits of drama. aBeZy was then responding. aBeZy's got me blocked on Twitter, whatever. I don't really care. What I'm interested in is that aBeZy actually is an interesting personality. And it's kind of cool to see because, you know, let's say when Scump retired and Crim6 was retiring and everything like this, I was somewhat concerned, as were many in the community, as to where the next generation of interesting players would actually come from. Thankfully, Scrappy, Drazah, guys like this came along, Pred, over the last couple of years to keep that legacy going. And aBeZy does have a bit of an edge to him, doesn't he? Like, you know, he's obviously talking trash a little bit on Gwyn's mum, who was defending Gwyn on the situation. And then we get Surge, aBeZy, and Gwyn having another back and forth here on Twitter when aBeZy's like, look, you were talking trash in scrims all year in game chat and stuff, so I'm going to talk trash when I beat you at the World Cup. Pretty funny, I thought. And to be fair, aBeZy's been playing really well lately, and here they are going into the Championship Sunday. I think Surge, many expected them to make a run at this tournament, which is, of course, exactly what they've done. Whether they can go further than that, I mean, let's be real, OpTic 3-1'd Cloud9 yesterday, so did Surge the other day. So, who knows, if Surge can make the finals, as I think they'll be favoured to do, can they do damage in a best-of-7 grand final? I don't know if their Search and Destroy is good enough, to be honest, to make that happen, but they're a very interesting team. And an OpTic versus Surge Grand Finals, you know, Rambo Ray versus Dashy rematch would be pretty exciting, obviously. This as well I thought was interesting, and this is why I like the fact that kill streaks are in the game. There used to be an argument from pros that kill streaks lowered the skill gap or something. We only have one, we have the cruise missile, but my perception has always been some players are far better at using them than others. Like, some players are genuinely awful with streaks, like, as far as I'm concerned. And similarly, Octane feels the same way because it's kind of a known thing that under the bridge on Karachi over towards the B-bomb site, you can't get killed by a cruise missile if you go into that little cubby underneath it. Like, but we still see people trying to do it. And as Octane says, it's possible maybe to go to the back steps and do it, but from the front side, which many people go for, it's just not possible. So the point that these guys are making is that some of these teams could do a far better job at utilizing their streaks effectively, and some teams do a good job with it, other teams certainly don't. I mean, the amount of wasted streaks we see is pretty bad, I think. And if some of the players are better at actually executing them and the teams are better at working around them, and, okay, call in a streak, then your other teammates can take some space rather than just sitting there and hoping it's going to get a kill. obviously we know how that potentially goes. Quickly on Team Falcons, of course, they won the entire tournament. They didn't make any damage at the COD stuff. I think they got 0 points, of course, for coming last at the Call of Duty stuff, but they effectively fielded teams, largely the best teams in every single esports. So, I mean, they were always going to win, obviously. They're miles ahead of the second place, and therefore the overall esports kind of Club World Cup trophy goes to them. So yeah, congratulations to the Falcons. Of course, for the Call of Duty stuff, it's still the World Cup win. The trophy's just different. Of course, Falcons bowed out early days. But as of course we talked about the other day, still held their own, all things considered. Let's talk about the OpTic series though real quick. Of course, there's a pretty funny moment on the map 1 when OpTic were playing Cloud9 and Getty gets a kill, falls off the map, and of course it's a Clayster moment. As we see in the replies, I think the pros have got to be a bit careful today as well on not spoiling the game, because the matches are happening a fair few minutes behind on the broadcast feed than they are in real time. And there is like a live feed out there somewhere that we tried to use day one, but we were told, hey, you can't use that anymore. So that's kind of been put to the side. And as obviously Kenny said yesterday, we won 3-1. Spoilers, my bad. So, you know, the pros got to be a bit careful after the series are over, because I know that when the series looks like it might be over, people are going to Twitter and seeing what the pros are tweeting, which is, you know, kind of takes away a little bit. Like, I wish the delay was shorter than it is. 45 seconds a minute, 2 minutes. Like 2 minutes, I think, is probably the number to go for. Any more than that, it can potentially create some issues, really. So, anyways, Dashy says, play FaZe tomorrow for a spot in the grand final. So, this will be, if OpTic win this tournament, an incredible run. They had an easier bracket, I would say, at the World Championship. This tournament, though, that's not the story at all. And here they are going through with the most challenging bracket possible, really. If they win this tournament, they will have to have beaten Cloud9, beaten FaZe, and then beaten probably the vanquishers of Toronto, or the team that vanquished Toronto. I don't know why I use the word vanquished. It's a cool word, whatever. So, ideally, in some sense, maybe Toronto could have made the finals, so OpTic could have beaten like all of those top 3 teams, because had OpTic done that, and even if they still win the tournament regardless, OpTic are kind of proving like, hey, we're the best team, we just won champs, we just won this again, you guys can't beat us, so maybe make a change. I think that's obviously what I'm always looking for, is like, how do these results play around in terms of Rostermania, because Cloud9 losing yesterday, and obviously Toronto losing yesterday, that says to me that those teams have to very heavily consider a roster change. I would be surprised if at least one of them doesn't, if not both of them, make a change going into next season. FaZe's situation will be interesting if they were to lose today to OpTic. If they were to win, because the rumour has it that a lot of the FaZe stuff we've talked about being problematic over the last couple of weeks, they have gone a significant way in resolving after champs. So, as Kenny says, still can't believe we're playing COD after champs, and in many ways I think that it might have helped FaZe this little bit of time to actually recollect things and behind the scenes drama, get it sorted out, and they seem to be playing some really solid COD, as of course they do, but you know, they're not losing maps right now. I think they'll lose maybe a map or 2 against OpTic, maybe 3 maps, who knows. Going to be a fascinating series. These were the numbers for yesterday's series as well here. So Kenny had a 1.28 in the end. Not HyDra's like best overall performance here. Still finished the tournament with about a 1.07, but definitely not, you know, HyDra's best showing overall. Kismet had a pretty good series, but it wasn't enough. Again, like in the damage category, Skyz is kind of nowhere compared to the ARs on OpTic, for example. So I think there's some questions to be had on that. They won 1 map on the Karachi, but every other map, apart from the ReeaL that was close, was relatively comfortable for OpTic. And of course, Pred and OpTic, they got to crush the key, right? They got to come in and crush the Cloud9 key. And pretty funny what Pred said here. He basically just said straight up, every time we've played Cloud9 or New York on LAN this year, we've beaten them every single time. So I get the satisfaction of being able to say that I've beaten my guy, Dante Sib, every single time we've played this year, after they, of course, teams for a couple of years, even waves goodbye to the Cloud9 boys here. So, you know, this kind of key crushing thing has actually grown on me to some extent over the tournament. This is a pretty funny moment because it's obviously late night for the OpTic boys, right? I think they were meant to play first game yesterday, but because they were OpTic, they changed it to last game, and they found out just before they went to bed the night before, I'm pretty sure. So, not ideal, but expected, and this is, you know, midnight easily, half past midnight, whatever it is, and, you know, here's Kenny looking absolutely mind-blown and trying to get some food, I imagine. So, yeah, there comes the crush for the key. Obviously, Pred is talking at at Sib as well and saying, hey, Dante, you can't beat me at LAN, kid. So, bit of a tough one for Dante to take it away, because obviously going into the year, there was talk about, okay, who was the better part of the duo? Sib's been really good in the second half of the season. Nobody denies it. But still, Pred does kind of own Sib in that matchup so far, in the same way that TJ used to own Pred in their matchup. But that seemingly now changed as well over the last couple of months. So Sib's like, okay, you can have this one, but take a note, and obviously things will change over time. They have a nice little back and forth. Obviously, they're boys, but it was it's good to see a bit of trash talk even between friends, as of course we full well know. Scrappy as well did seemingly find this one kind of funny, the whole 100T next thing, so at least he does reply. Doesn't sound like he's in too bad spirits, all things considered. But let's talk about how things are going to go for today, because in the lower side of the bracket, there's been some surprises down there. Toronto going out to 100T, of course Vancouver even getting to the bracket position that they did. They ended up playing, and OpTic Gaming now will play FaZe, and the winner of that game will play 100 Thieves or Vancouver Surge. Of course, there's also been talk about this whole formal thing, just because Nature was trying to like court formal to the team. Now, obviously, the idea of the winner getting formal doesn't make that much sense, in the sense that, like, if Thieves were to win and win the entire tournament, are they going to make a change? I mean, if you win the World Cup, probably not, even though maybe you still should if there's upgrades out there and available. So, I don't know, it's fascinating. I don't think 100T are getting further than this. I think that Surge will beat them, but I'm not obviously sure. It's a very interesting series. And if Thieves, I suppose, do end up top 4, they'll probably have to consider whether they can upgrade somewhere or another. But if Surge go all the way, what will they think about doing? Obviously, there's talk about Cobra, or there's talk about, some other options, but obviously their team is looking nice, just probably a bit too inconsistent to win. That's my feeling anyway. The winner of this game, Pred versus AG, or, basically OpTic versus FaZe, I think wins the tournament 90% likelihood. But who's going to win this match? That's the big question, right? So these are the games of today. It starts off with OpTic versus FaZe. I mean, what a way to end out the season on a championship Sunday. OpTic Gaming versus, I'd love it to be FaZe Clan. It's still technically Atlanta FaZe, but, whatever. Their points go towards FaZe Clan anyway. But OpTic Gaming play FaZe. Winner of this, of course, goes on to the finals, as does the winner of 100T versus Vancouver Surgeons. Yeah, the bracket's been pretty wild to get us to this point. So OpTic are going in, having won the World Championship, but FaZe, I genuinely think, are playing better COD now than they were at Champs. This is going to be a bloodbath of a series. Very difficult to predict, but the winner of these best of 5 games in the semi-finals are very likely to go on to win the entire championship. So very much enjoyed to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
What is this?
Nice blazer.
I usually skip this part.
It's alright. Really? Interesting. It's not great?
Oh well.
So how's Shotzzy doing? He's a great slayer.
Oh yeah. I'm very lucky.
Can't wait to watch you guys play.
Hold that thought. Actually, I want you to see this.
Whoa.
Very nice.
I got it as soon as I landed yesterday.
Good coloring.
That's great. And the lettering is something called Arabian Exaltation.
That's very cool, Dashy, but that's nothing. Look at this. Warm metallic with block type. What do you think?
Whoa.
Nice.
Damn, that is really super.
I can't believe that TJ prefers Paul's key to mine. The delicate chiseling, the smooth curved edges.
Whoa, that's super. Damn, that is really super.
Dashy, you're sweating.
They're all gonna look so good when they're crushed at the bottom of my trophy.
This is awesome, dude. Yo,
can we replay the Teej? That is super. Dude, it was like he was held at gunpoint.
Dude,
I got it as soon as
that
I
is
landed
super. Like,
I'm
the way
tweeting
you
that.
said that shit.
I'm tweeting that.
That's
Is really
super.
super.
Oh my god.
And the lettering is something called Arabian Exaltation.
That's very cool, Dashy, but that's nothing. Look at this. Warm metallic with block type. What do you think?
Nice.
Damn, that is really super.
Holy shit.
Dude, that
Teej
is
is the worst actor on the planet. That's literally. Yo, Teej is the worst actor on the planet.
Dude, that is.
It's
that
not
is-
close.
That is fantastic.
Oh my god.
That just made my day, man.